Welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Mac, probably one of our most anticipated episodes of the year, just for you and me. I'm not even talking about people watching or listening, which we hope they are, but for you and me to talk Clemson and preview the season. And of course, Mac was just there at fall camp. You can see maybe he got a little sun. It looked like it was hot out there at McLean.
Yeah. I think that's actually the orange tinted, just sunlight beam. I don't know what to call
That
it.
follows you everywhere.
Yeah, my
you go.
lighting right now is suboptimal, but here we are. And I do kind of look a little bit red, a little orange, however you want to do that. It was hot though. I'll say this is super typical, like for my life. Clemson, we're talking to them. They're like, oh, camp has been awesome. It's been high 70s, low 80s. Great. It's been amazing. Couple rain days, like weather has been unbelievable. And then we go outside and they're like, oh yeah, this is by far the hottest day we've had in a month.
Welcome.
Oh, cool. That's so fun for me. I'm very excited. Thanks for welcoming me home.
And I'm trying to do television. Sweat is
cool.
just
And pants. And we got to wear pants on TV. NFL Network doesn't, but we do because we're the ACC network. We have to.
Yeah. Wearing pants, it's a problem. All right, let's get into what you saw, Mac, and we'll talk a little bit more about just what we expect overall. And then, of course, we have a great interview with Dabo Swinney. I think it was like 28 minutes. I mean, Dabo gave us a lot of great time. So we're super excited for you guys to hear this interview. But Mac, overall thoughts, you're there, you're sweating, it's hot, but you gave me a little sneak peek. You said, Kelly, we're big and we're fast. And yeah, you're excited.
Yeah, breaking news, Clemson's going to be pretty good. It's always fun for me just to get out and about and to see and to kind of put your eyes on, different things. And obviously there's a lot of anticipation, like you said, about Clemson, because there is so much expectation and they have, so many guys back that are ready to either take another step or just continue where they left off. And that's what it looked like to me. A couple of key things that we know the big picture stuff and we can dive into all that, but just kind of things I was looking for when I got there. Running back. I want to see the running back position. Who's out there first? Who's out there second? Who's out there third? How do they look? How excited, our guys when they're making plays, things of that nature. And that was fun to see because I thought Adam Randall you're going to hear from Coach Swinney in a second, but he looked great. Number one, physically, he's huge. Just a massive dude, 6'3", 235, 240. Just rocked up. Not an ounce of fat on this guy. And just to see his vision and how much he's grown post-spring already, very impressive to me, KG. So now the only real question that I guess is left, because you can see mentally he understands it. No MAs. I saw not one MA throughout the entire practice from the running back group, which was good. But just physically, is he ready to run between the tackles any given play, against guys that are trying to hurt him? At the end of the day, that's what you're going against. And clearly, starting against a team of the caliber of LSU is a big deal. And, how are you going to be able to hand up there? How are you going to be able to kind of stand tall, do your thing and run the ball effectively? But Adam looked great. It looked like Easy. David there was the second running back, which loved the explosion from him. He's been there. He's done that. He's learned this team. And then, kind of switching with him, but with the threes, was that talented freshman, that I think is going to be really good when you look at Gideon Davidson and just explosive, a really good pass catcher. And he's wearing number 9, which that's probably going to be hung up in a couple years, if not sooner. But he looks like Travis Etienne physically, cut up, big, strong legs, home run ability, but I loved what he could do as a receiver. We saw in the spring game, that's kind of where it popped for me. He was split out, making catches and things that it took Travis Etienne 4 years to get to that. He's kind of there from a receiver standpoint right now. So, how does that translate? And, it kind of sounds like they expect all 3 of those guys to play. As I mentioned, Adam going to be the number 1 guy there, but there seems to be some good depth. The second thing was, just the safety position.
Mm.
That was one that, there's some big plays. Clemson gave up a ton of big plays last year, and that was a position that, was either out of position or just not physically ready to make a play, things of that nature. So, who's going to step up? Who's going to step up to be the guy? Is Shelton Lewis moving around to nickel to safety? Is Khalil Barnes, going to be same thing? Where are those guys going to stay? And then can a guy like Griffin, kind of step up and be ready to go, and who else kind of around that can supplement and really be able to play at a high level. So everywhere else I felt pretty good about, and it was pretty confirmed throughout practice and watching those guys in person.
That's a really good point, Mac. Let's talk a little defense here. We can get back to the offense. I think everyone kind of knows what to expect from the offense. Dabo talks a lot about the offense. But this defense gave up 160 yards per game on the ground last year. Like,
Which, by the way,
crazy.
guys, that's horrible. That
Yeah.
is terrible.
Crazy.
I think all of us, watch us Clemson fans here right now. I don't know why I did air quotes. There's no way
This is a
around.
safe place, Mac.
It's a
Yeah.
safe place for all of us. It was horrible to
Yeah.
watch. And it's
Dabo
just
says that
slow
in
down.
our interview.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was sickening, honestly. And specifically, I think Louisville, South
Yeah.
Carolina, Texas, where I'm just like,
Georgia.
what is that? Georgia? You just kind of bury that one.
Yeah, that game didn't happen.
Yeah, you're just like, what is going on? This is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was alarming. And Dabo's very candid about that. He said last year's defense was not up to the standard of Clemson football, and it needed to be fixed. Obviously, they bring in Tom Allen, and that's going to change a lot of things. But I do think, being able to limit the explosive plays, which was a huge issue for the defense last year, a lot of that, like you said, does come down to the safety position. And it's all connected. We get that. But what did you observe watching Tom Allen run that practice for the defense?
Yeah. He is he's very similar to Coach Venables. Just the energy, the
So he's
yelling,
insane.
insane chaos. And you know what was fascinating? It was so funny. Eddie Royal and I were they were doing like a red zone 7-on-7 type thing. And Eddie Royal and I are just kind of sitting there watching, and a safety, sorry, this position is like a topic of interest right now, just goes the wrong way, and it's a touchdown. And he goes berserk and is just like losing his mind. And I'm just like, yes, this is what we need, because it matters, right? It's important, and that's how you lose football games, by doing things of that nature. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but it was just one of those things where you're just like, this is great. This is great. Haven't had this in a couple of years in regards to the level and sense of urgency and things of that nature. And so, I think that is a big deal, and just how he does it. I mean, everyone saw it at Penn State last year. I mean, the way that they operated, the, tenacity, getting after the quarterback, a really elite defense. He's bringing that here. And, we spoke to Coach Swinney on, kind of our road show, and we touched on it here. But, at the end of the day, he wanted somebody to come in and shift the whole room.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't change the whole staff. He changed one guy, the leader. And he's got a new leader in here that he feels like can really, help get Clemson back to what it is supposed to and used to being. The star power is there. Now you just got to line them up, get them in the right position, and inspire them. And I think that's absolutely the case. So his passion, his understanding of the game, KG, but also like taking it down to the fundamentals. Like Clemson was not good at tackling last year. They could not wrap up. There was a ton of missed tackles. You specifically think of the South Carolina game there, and maybe Louisville as well. Just not being able to get guys on the ground. And I will never forget those first couple of spring practices. I'm sure they did it again in the fall, of, Coach Allen saying, we're going to learn how to tackle. Like, we're taking this back as if you've never played football before. I'm going to teach you how to do this. I think that's really important. And, I hope that we see that, the accountability, like you heard and saw from TJ Parker saying, if we mess up, we're running or doing up downs. Like, we just know that. And they're doing that every single practice. And eventually you're going to get tired of doing that crap, and you're going to do the right thing. And I'm sure that's really been a great transition for everybody involved.
Absolutely. And I think that's what Clemson fans want to hear about the defense. And like I said, I mean, I was a little surprised. When we talked to Dabo, I tried to be a little politically correct and say, the defense had some issues last year. And he said, we were bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what he said. So that was really interesting to see and to hear. Mac, when you look at some of the recent stuff that's come out, Cade Klubnik, first team preseason All-American by the AP.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Peter Woods, also first team. Blake Miller, Antonio Williams, TJ Parker, second team. Like the hype is there. And that's the other thing I'm curious about, because it feels like what I've been reading and seeing is this team has a very business-like approach, you
Mhm.
know? They know there's hype. They know they're number 4 in the preseason poll, but they're not letting it bother them, and maybe they expect it. Like, did you feel that type of business-like approach when you were there?
For sure, just because I think a number of things. A, there's a handful of guys that could have left
Mhm,
and went pro, but decided to come back and feel like there's business to be handled and things still left to do. And then B, it's the other group, the Peter Woods and the TJ and guys of that nature that will be leaving after this year,
right.
and they kind of know, hey, this is my grand
This is
finale.
the big
This is
year.
big year to really kind of put the exclamation point on the team, and you felt that the way they operated, the way that they operated in certain drills in practice. If we're doing thud, we're not going to the ground, and that's how you can really tell how mature, how ready a team is, KG, based on how they practice. Do they
Mhm,
follow and understand what we're trying to do here? Oh, you make a big hit, well, great. We were not trying to do that. Now you may be hurt, one of your teammates, things of that nature. So guys get it. Guys were very business-like, and just to hammer down on that D line. You mentioned 2 guys there, on these All-American lists that are just massive and beasts. Like Peter, it's one thing to see him in a suit and you can kind of see his body, whatever. That dude has completely changed his composition. Like, I was watching with my father-in-law the I think it was the SMU game the other day or last night, and I mean, he was pudgy. Like, he had a gut. He was fat, and he looks amazing. I
hmm.
mean, he kind of looks skinny, and he's 309, and it's crazy to see that, but he's
He's a
just
skinny
rock.
309.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, he looks like a monster, and he's back inside at 3 technique where he's going to be a mismatch nightmare. These guards, centers are not going to want to see that dude, how twitchy he is, how much he can move, and just strong. And this is a guy that could have squatted right at 700 pounds a couple years ago. Now I'm sure he's tailed off of that a little bit. You want to protect yourself, but he's strong as an ox. And then you look at everywhere else. You look at the depth, and you see a guy like DeMonte Capehart that is just figured it out, was a 5-star coming in. It took some time, had some injuries, whatever. Baller. You have a guy like Vic Burley, who I think is close and I think is ready to take another step. A guy that popped for me was Steph Green, number 90,
Mm.
big D tackle, playing a lot, looking really good, shifty. And we saw flashes from him a year ago as well. So this D line is going to be really, really impressive. And that's not even mentioning Amir Adams, who people think is going to be a superstar true freshman. So there's a lot of quality depth, especially on the inside. We've heard about Shaq Lawson's brother there, Jaheim Lawson,
Mhm.
that has really stepped up. TJ Parker, again, the sacks, defensive player of the year candidate. Some people had him as a dark horse for the Heisman. Like, this defense in all phases is ready to take a big step.
Yeah, the hype is there, Mac. That's for sure. I want to ask you specifically about an offensive position group. I feel like, and we'll get there. I mean, the wide receivers are just. Dabo says in our interview coming up that 6 guys could start. Like, this wide receiver room is back, and you and I have talked about that, Mac. Cade Klubnik, I like in some ways that he's had that adversity, even though, of course, it was tough at times for Clemson fans. But he came out with some quotes saying, "Look, I've had times where everyone told me I sucked." And I've have times now where everyone tells me I'm gonna win the Heisman. I just
Mhm.
don't care. I
Right.
love that attitude.
Yeah.
You can comment on any of these positions, but I specifically want to hear your thoughts on the offensive line, because I think one thing that we aren't talking about enough, we talk about Tom Allen and that hire. We're talking about Ben Boulware and his impact, right? But Matt Luke, like, you could talk if this team goes on to who knows, win a national championship or whatever it is, that's the hire that I
Mhm.
think people maybe aren't giving enough hype to, because I know it was a couple years ago, but seems to have kind of transformed this position group.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any question, and I'll kind of hit on all those things, briefly, and you just kind of interrupt me whenever you want to go, because I can talk forever. But I think
Keep talking.
I think it's one of, if not the biggest hire that Coach Swinney's made. Like, obviously, Coach Venables is probably that, and
Yeah.
what that equated to for Clemson. But Coach Luke has to be right there. I mean, just a mind shift change, a recruiting clear change. And
Recruiting.
the guy's recruiting his tail off. And these guys just playing inspired, right? I mean, it is very fun to see and to see these guys come out. And there's a lot of experience on this offensive line. There's a lot of great size. And, I think they feel really confident, 6, 7 guys that they might rotate, a handful. I know that's a little bit odd on the offensive line. Usually people want 5 and that's who goes out there. But the way people cross train now, the way that you need to be ready if injuries happen, guys are going to rotate in there. And, I think of the first 5 where, Tristan Lee, who's just been a beast and has been really fun. And, just to tell a fun story about him, when he got on campus back in the day, we didn't even know if he'd ever play. I mean, this guy had I don't know. It was very strange with his shoulder and his neck and, just wasn't strong. And, just it was one of those things where he was bigger and stronger than everybody his whole career. And then he gets here and it's like,
Yeah.
man, you're not ready for this. You're
Yeah.
not even close. And, I think COVID had some stuff to do with that. He did or didn't get to play his senior year, but he looks tremendous. And the way he's evolved as a leader, I'm so proud of that guy and the way that he's emerged and really being, a shining light on this Clemson team here. Maybe, you look at Sadler at the left guard position, a guy that has played a bunch and has rotated around and dealt with some injuries, but I think is going to be ready to go. Ryan Linthicum, Remington Rye, as Cade Klubnik told me. That's his new nickname there, just Steady Eddie, a guy that's kind of held down the porch and really done a great job there. Walker Parks and Harris Sewell kind of fighting it out and, whoever can really roll there. And maybe that's, is Harris one of the rotating guys that really comes in? And then you got Blake Miller that's literally started since he stepped on campus. I think can play his way into being a first-round draft pick. He is mean. He's aggressive. He is a great player, and he's just literally dominated all the time. I cannot wait to see this offensive line go against this defense and just how can they impose their will? How can they protect Cade, and how can they move guys out of the way and just really be a strength of this team? So I think people are going to be impressed. I think people are going to be blown away. I think Clemson can really this year because of who they have skill-wise and how you can move the ball, but also because of that core, 5, 6, 7 offensive linemen, I think they can fight their way to the Joe Moore Award and be that massive 500-pound trophy at the end of the season there. So I'm excited for them. I think they've really got an opportunity and a big chance here, KG.
I wanted to give you a chance to break down that O-line because
I appreciate that.
it feels like it's been transformed. Like you said, not just the position and the depth, but the recruiting by Matt Luke. And I'm not sure we talk about it enough. All right. Before we get to Dabo, Cade and these receivers.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be electric. Really excited to see it. We know the steps Cade Klubnik has taken. That's been talked about forever. These wide receivers, the way Dabo was talking about them, gets you excited. And, even when you think of, okay, let's say it's Antonio Williams and Brian Wesco and TJ Moore walking out there, but you got Tyler Brown, right? You got Cole Turner. You got these guys that, like Dabo said, should probably start. Who stood out to you when you were watching those receivers?
Yeah, well, the good answer is all of them.
Yeah.
Everybody flashed at different times, and they all bring different things. But I do want to give great credit and a lot of excitement because I talked to everybody, but probably 10 people intentionally from kind of different areas of the team. And the common denominator was Tyler Brown has had the best camp of any skill player. And that just he's ready and that he looks the best, he's in the best shape. He's faster, he's stronger, he's explosive. And I think he's going to remind a lot of people who he is and the capabilities that he has. Now, is that coming off the bench? Does that eventually crack the start? Whatever. And here's the other thing about that I think it's really important for people to think about and remember. And I was going to bring this up to Coach, but we just didn't have time. We were just rolling. Back in 2014, my junior year, we had like 6 D linemen, and I think all 6 played in the league.
Yeah.
They all started at different times, and it didn't matter. They all got drafted. They all were, first, second, third round draft picks, and they're coming off the bench and they're playing whatever. Tyler 1000% has that opportunity and that ability to do that. But I just want to give him credit because I think some people truly are just focusing on those main three, which is a good thing to have. It's a great problem to have. The other thing to remember in this offense is they're all going to get the ball. Like they are going to throw it. There's going to be opportunities. Guys are going to make plays and really do that. And I think when you talk about like leader, unquestioned guy, Antonio Williams has stepped up into that. And again, a pro who's playing college, could have been drafted very high last year, just got listed as Matt Miller's #1 wide receiver, in the country right now for next year's draft. Super impressive. How can he continue to build on that? How can he continue to grow? Just coverage, recognition, seeing how a guy aligns, and I know exactly where I need to go, how I can set him up to get somewhere. That's where we're going to see mentally, like physically, he's been the guy since he got on campus. He was a freshman All-American and has had great years. But mentally, I think where we can see him take another level where he's just wide open. You're like, how'd that happen? How did he get so, wide open there? And then you've got the two sophomore phenoms in Wesco and TJ Moore that look bigger, look faster, more confident, and they're just going to work. So I think this group has a really special shot. I think Cade's going to orchestrate it perfectly. He feels no pressure. We asked him about that specifically when we were there. He said, it's not my job to get everybody the ball, but it is my job to operate this offense the best that I can. And whoever gets the rock at that time is supposed to, get it. And I think they'll feel that. And we asked Coach Swinney that in a second. We're about to get there, I promise. And he says winning solves all of that, which I think Clemson is going to do a lot of.
Mac, I have one more point to make, and I'm going to say that this point is brought to you by Roback. I'm not sure that they want this point to be brought to you by Roback, but it is.
They do.
Use our code GM20. This is a little Roback right here. These sweatshirts, guys, okay, the polos are awesome, right? Mac has all of them. My husband has all of them. They're sick. I think they're all super cool. There's no women's stuff technically. Bummer, right? Roback has other great women's stuff. But this is a medium of the men's hoodie. And to be fair, I'm 37 weeks pregnant, but it fits well and it's really stretchy. So I feel like once this belly is gone, I'm going to be good to go. So I really like these lightweight hoodies, and they have the different ones for Clemson. That's what I would suggest, Mac, if you're a lady out there trying to get you some Roback stuff, or get your husband one of these polos, because the polos are awesome. But wait, before you talk about Roback, here's my point. I'm just going to read this, Mac.
Okay.
This is Dabo Swinney on the punting situation.
Punter, yes.
He thinks they have 3 guys who can go do it. He said, quote, pray about it, put 3 names in a hat, ask God to help pull the name out. Said this will probably go another week, maybe into the opener. That's how close it is. They can all launch at 60. They can all shank at 20. Why? Why do we deal with this every year?
I think,
you know what? I'm just going to leave that there. No comment. Mag, maybe you saw a punter really impressed. I have decided that I think that Dabo just likes a challenge, and he just wants to try to win a national title without a punter.
Yeah. Let's talk to Dabo. Let's go.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA choice and prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Coach Dabo Swinney, great to see you. You got me excited over here because you said it's the first day of full pads. You've got W drill, you've got some goal line, you've got it all going. How's camp been? How's everything going with you guys?
It's been great. Very business-like. Guys have been just, doing the work, about the work. We started last Tuesday, so we're a week and a day into camp mode. We're kind of getting through the acclimatization period, so this is the first full padded day today. We kind of flipped camp over to Jervy Meadows today, and which probably brings back bad memories for you. And we
it's okay. We can get through it together.
we get into you have all these tempos of practice, thud and tracking, and now we get into the first day of some live work, kind of getting them ready for our first preseason game this Saturday, which is a scrimmage, but it's our preseason game. So it's a big day today, a big day. Tomorrow will be a day off their legs, and then we'll kind of have a double day Friday, and then our first, again, big scrimmage on Saturday. So we're just, but I tell you, the guys have been about the work. It's been a very business-like group as far as just showing up, being locked into whatever we're asking them to do in that moment, and so far so good.
Well, you guys have a lot of veterans, so that makes sense there, Coach. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, talk about some of these players, you seem, I've seen some quotes and different things, you seem refreshed. Like, what were you able to do this offseason that you feel like was able to refill your cup? Any cool trips? Like, how was your offseason overall?
It really the same as it always is.
Okay.
I don't really venture much. I go to the beach, I go to the lake, I jump in the lake, play a little golf, hang out. I like to exercise and stuff like that, but really nothing, just kind of my normal routine. I'm a creature of habit, as EMAC can probably tell you, but I'm consistent in really how I go about my business, but it's been great. I mean, I think, we've got a really committed group of guys. We got a very connected team, and staff. I mean, I think staff and team, we're all in a really good place. It's probably as good a all-in meetings as we've ever had in my 16 years, from a staff standpoint. So I don't know. We're just a very connected group, and anytime you have a veteran, experienced, committed team, that's exciting. And you just you gotta manage that the right way. Because you got a bunch of guys that really know what it looks like. In particular, this team, all these guys have won a championship. Everybody on the team has won a title, and everybody on this team, except for the new people made the playoff. And so they kind of have that experience, and I think that really fueled because we hadn't been to the playoff, since 20, and so that group getting back to the playoff last year, winning the league. And not only getting to the playoff, but really, especially in that fourth quarter, we're right there and battled back. I think they came into this offseason like, okay, they just have a different mindset that I think sometimes it's hard to teach. You got to experience some of those things. So it's been fun. Been a fun offseason, and now we're into the prime time phase and get a chance to go play.
Yeah, Coach, I love what you said there about everybody's won a championship. And I love also how you remind those freshmen, those newcomers on campus that you haven't and you're on the clock. And because that's the expectation, right? I mean, when you come to Clemson, it's to win rings. It's to win trophies. It's not just to go to a bowl game or not just this and that. And you set that for yourself. And with this team, I think because of the veteran leadership, because of, the guys in very key places, including your quarterback, that's a real tangible thing and a thing that probably everyone's really looking at. Cade seemed on just another level again. And you reminded everybody last year before he had the success, it takes time. There's a process. You have to go through certain things to get where you want. It just doesn't happen. And Cade has been through all of that. His growth, his maturity, his development, from your standpoint, your vantage point, I know that has to be really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a great reminder that, this is a developmental game. And these are young people that are transitioning to college and for the first time in their life really having true peers in this game. And the kids that we recruit to Clemson, they have very few peers, so we have to evaluate and we have to project, right? And that's a lot. You're projecting a lot. I mean, like you were a tight end coming out of high school, EMAC. But we were like, this guy's a good football player, and he's going to be something. And, but you didn't really have a peer. Now, all of a sudden, now football's hard and okay, you changing positions. And for the first time in your life, you're being challenged in a way that you didn't get challenged in high school.
All right, Coach, we got you back. I know you make enough money, so maybe pay the internet bills, okay, so we can do this interview in one take here. But we were talking about your quarterback and just his development and from your vantage point, and you were talking about how great of a player I was. So just continue on that. That would be great.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm very distracted because your head is like right in the crotch of that horse, and
Secretariat,
it's like
man. Come on.
very. I'm trying to figure out what we got going on here.
I think it's some pro-Louisville propaganda, but I'm not going to say
what
it.
it is. Okay. So that's Secretariat? Okay.
That's Secretariat, man. Come
All
on.
right.
He's a champion.
Good to see Secretariat there. What were you talking about?
Just Cade. You were telling me about
Oh,
Cade's development and how.
I just think he's a good example and a good reminder that, hey, guys get better if you're made of the right stuff and, you put the work in. Like, this is a developmental game. I mean, kids, not everybody shows up to college ready to play. Like, you lived that. You were a really big-time high school recruit, but, hey, you redshirted, then you ended up moving to another position. And, man, but by the time you were done, because of who you are and how you're wired and your work ethic and what you're made of, hey, you became a great player on a national championship team, right? Like, so we forget that, right? Like, and sometimes, every now and then, you get a guy that the day he gets there, he's ready physically and mentally. Some guys are physically ready coming out of high school, but mentally they got a ways to go. Some guys are mentally ready, but physically they're a long way away, And so that's just the world that like, we're not getting kids out of high school that have had a bunch of peer-on-peer development. So the kids we get are usually the best guy, and when they come here now, they're just one of the best guys. And so it's a process, but I think especially for me, I've always wanted to be a developmental program, and if guys do the work, eventually they find their way on the field, and that to me is a huge part of our consistency. And I've never wanted to be a program that's good one year, terrible another year, good one year, because that's how you get fired. You have a great year, and 2 years later you're out of a job. So we've always tried to be the model of consistency, and that goes back to evaluation, development, retention, and really creating value in the place and the people that you're doing life with every day. And Cade's a perfect example of that. I mean, he's just a winner, and I'm proud of him. But you know what? Sometimes when that's your philosophy, you're going to have some years where maybe some guys that, they look back and they're great as a senior, but they look back and they go, man, that sophomore year, that was a tough year for me. Or maybe it was the freshman year, but because these are young people. But in totality, if the guys do the work, they get better.
Well, speaking of development, I know the wide receiver room, we've had a lot of Clemson fans, as we get through this offseason, so excited about that room. Antonio Williams, Brian Wesco, TJ Moore, other names, of course, but those guys have developed in your program. What have you seen from them so far in camp? What excites you about that group?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, they've been available. We had a couple years around here where some of our best players weren't available. Or they had, you look at a guy like Ngata, for example. Here's a kid, very talented, but he had a lot of injuries, and he was very inconsistent with his availability. And that hurts. That hurts your long-term development. And the biggest thing is we've had our best players available, and we've evaluated well. Man, I think Grish has done a good job since he became the receiver coach. I mean, he's brought some dudes in here. Now, his first recruiting class was Cole Turner, Adam Randall, and Antonio Williams. Well, now, a few years down the road, I think we can all agree Antonio Williams is a stud. Cole Turner, he's had some injuries and things that he's had to come. Cole Turner is a stud. Adam Randall has had some moments, and now he's kind of gone into a different role, but you're still going to see him really make a difference in the passing game as well. And then you look at, the next recruiting class. We brought in Tyler Brown. Grisham brought in Tyler Brown. And, man, what a weapon he's been. And we got Wesco and TJ Moore. And these guys, as true freshmen last year, really came into their own, as they went through the season. And by the end of the year, I thought we're just really ready and played well on big stages and big moments, and from the ACC championship to the playoff. So now all those guys are back, they're all back. Antonio's really the only senior, in that receiver room. So you got some guys that have a chance to develop in your program. And so we've got good skill, bringing Tristan Smith in. We had a couple of depth guys leave the program, and so we needed to go get another guy that could come in and really, really help us right away. And Tristan has been has shown he can do that. So we've got, if we stay healthy, we've got a nice little core of guys that can go play. And then we've got a kind of a second group of guys that can be a really good, functional developmental group from a depth standpoint.
has Coach Riley drawn up or implemented any plays where there are multiple footballs on the field at one time? And
Yeah.
I'm joking, and this is probably a question for Cade, but how do you keep all those guys satisfied? I mean, we're throwing it 45, 50 times a game. I mean, and you have them too, right? It's not just like we need to or we have to, but you kind of want to get the ball out to all of these different guys and let them do their thing.
Well, the way you keep them happy is you win.
That's true too. Helps.
That's how you do it. You go win. And but I think part of it is that's just our culture, is getting guys to buy into, the selflessness that winning at the highest level takes, and really having self-awareness of, hey man, we got dudes, game knows game. And I think game knows game. And when you have that, that's when you got a chance to be really good, because truly, we have 6 guys at receiver that could start and honestly deserve to start. They're good enough and deserve to start. But they can't all run out there at one time. So that selflessness and buying into, hey man, it's about who you are as a player. I mean, I've had guys that have had 1 million catches that don't get drafted. It's about who you are. It's about, what you do with your opportunities. And these guys have all bought into that, man. I mean, and we've had groups like that over the years. Somebody will have a big game, DeAndre Hopkins, and the next game it's Sammy Watkins, and the next game it's Teron Brown or Adam Humphries or whoever, Martavis Bryant. And, we've got a group of guys that could all go off on any moment. Yeah. And now, again, we all know, to me, it starts with Antonio. I mean, he is the unquestioned leader in that room, and he is a baller, and is really just truly sets the tone from how we practice to how they meet to what they do pre-practice and post-practice. I mean, he has done an all to how you play and the speed of how you practice. I mean, he's really set the tone for all that, and all those guys have bought into that. So I think there's got to be selfless, and then you got a good group of tight ends, that bring stuff. So I think when guys want to win, and I think as long as you're winning, guys understand, hey, someday you're going to get it, someday you're not. But it's a selfless and very self-aware group.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Coach, we will get to defense because we want to talk about Tom Allen and what's going on over there. But you mentioned Adam Randall. I mean, we have to talk running backs because replacing Phil Maffa, that's a big hole to replace. Gideon Davidson, I know people are excited about him. But the Adam Randall story is fascinating to me.
Yep.
I know you've told it before. Maybe just give us kind of the short version of when exactly did you say, okay, maybe I know it was the Maffa injury that led to him being used there more, but how did that kind of process? He's taking the Eric McLean route, Coach.
Yeah, right. On the bus ride back from the ACC championship game, Adam's one of those guys that's it's been frustrating because I want everybody to see what we've seen. I know how talented he is, and he's had some big time moments, but he's had a lot of challenges along the way, unavailability, injuries, different stuff, and then I think he kind of lost his confidence a little bit. But really coming back from the ACC on the bus ride back from the ACC championship game, honestly, and I'm like, you know what? Because, we got the portal was getting ready to open, and I've got a team meeting the next day because we're going to find out where we're going to the playoff and all that. And on the way back, I'm just like, I think I'm going to meet with Adam tomorrow, and I'm just going to pitch this idea to him. But watching him on that kick return and watching him, what he's always done best is run with the ball. That's what he's always done best. And so I'm just the whole 2+ hour ride back, I'm thinking about Adam Randall, and because I figure I'm probably going to have a conversation. I'm going to have a couple of guys come to me probably the next day and say, Coach, I need to go in the portal because I got to get somewhere in January and yada yada. So I was prepared for that, and honestly, I think he was probably prepared to come talk because he wants to play, and I was like, I'm gonna just give it a shot. And so, but watching him, I don't know, it was like a light bulb went off, and I just said, hey, what would you think about let's stay through the spring, and let's give it a shot. Kind of my Tyler Shatley, EMAC, conversation, like. I remember when I met with Shatley, that spring of his 4th year, and I'm like, Shat, you're a good D tackle, but if you want to play in the NFL, man, we need to move. And he had never played OL. He was a fullback linebacker in high school. Shat, you talking about a guy looking
So
at
crazy. Yeah.
4 eyeballs, like, he's looking at me. I said, let's just try it this spring. And if you stink and doesn't, it's not, we'll move you back. You're a D tackle, no problem. Well, Shatley played like 11 years in the NFL, but only because he was willing to do that. And so I told Adam after we had our playoff thing, I just met with him and I said, look, what's the best thing you do? I asked him, I said, what is the best thing that you do as a football player? What's the best thing you do? And he said, run with the ball. And I said, ding, ding, ding. I was like, that's what you do. The best thing you do is when you have the ball, you're a problem to tackle. And I said, so what would you think about staying through the spring and let's transition to running back. Let's rebrand you. And then if it's not, you can leave in May. Right. And I'll help you. I'll do everything I can to help you get in the right spot. But what would you think about that? And I said, and we'll start right now. Like soon as we start practice for the playoff, we'll start right now in making that transition, but really commit to it. And I mean, and I just kind of help plant the seed for him. And he really played running back and quarterback most of his life. You know, he always played with the ball in his hand. He really didn't move to receiver till in high school. He wanted to be Julio Jones. And,
me too. It didn't work out, but me too.
Well, now let's be Cordell Patterson. You know, let's transition. And so he's really bought into it. And now he just looks like a running back.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a receiver anymore. He looks like a running back.
Right.
But now he's had an off season, a spring, all summer, his ball handling, his footwork, you know, all that stuff. So it went well. And I think obviously, you know, coming out of the playoff and made some plays there. And then he had a great spring. And you talk about a kid that is as good a human being as you're ever going to meet, as good a leader as you're ever going to be. I mean, an unquestioned leader on this team. Unquestioned. I mean, this guy's so respected on this football team. Mm-hmm. And a guy that loves Clemson, that is committed. He's loyal. He is the epitome of all in. And so it's been awesome, man. You just pull for a guy like that. And man, I pray for him all the time. I just pray because I know if the good Lord will keep that kid healthy, he's going to be a great story.
Right.
It's going to be a fun story to watch him. So just really pulling for him that you know, he can just stay available.
And we saw, I'm sure you did too, clearly, but great progress through the spring. And I remember coming to practice and seeing the spring game, and just the natural ability was there, but then the patience and allowing holes to develop and hitting it downhill, that all seemed to be there then. I have to imagine that is translating even better now in fall camp. Is he the guy, if you play today, is he running back one?
Yeah, today he is. I mean, he's been, you know, Jay Haynes is out right now. Right. He's still progressing back. I mean, we'll get him back sooner than later. But yeah, I mean, Adam is this guy he knows everything. Right. I mean, he understands everything. And so, you know, just mentally, you know, he's out running out there first. But let me tell you, Eazy-E and Gid, you know, they're those guys. I don't see any situation where we're going to have one guy, you know, right. playing. We're going to have a really good backfield of guys and 3 or 4 guys getting some reps every single week. Right. You know, breaking news, you know, Jarvis is kind of out of that now because he had to have surgery on his foot. So he's going to be out for you know, most of the season. So we may be getting back at the end of the year, postseason. We'll just have to see. And I hate that for Jarvis because Jarvis is a really good football player and had a big play in the playoff. And so I just hate that for him. But, you know, it's but Eazy-E and Gid and Adam and Keith Adams, you know, those 4 guys.
And they're all different too, right? I mean, you got different.
They're all different.
Yeah.
They're all different. But Adam really brings the leadership and the confidence. The game's not too fast for him. He really checks all the boxes. So that's been a good thing, and especially for those other guys. But it's going to be a good room. I don't think it's just going to be a good guy. I think it's going to be a really good room, and all those guys, I think, will have an opportunity to shine.
Coach, we know you're busy. You got to get out there. So let's talk little defense before we let you go. Tom Allen, he takes over. Nothing makes all of us feel older than Ben Bulwer being in charge of people and being a coach. But it
scared.
seems like
I don't know, older or scared. Yeah. I don't know what you feel.
Right. He has the same haircut as Mac now. It's kind of funny. What have you seen overall? Because we know the defense, had its moments last year. The defense taking the next step could be the difference for this team. So just give us kind of an overview of what you've seen.
Well, I mean, it's got to be the difference because we stunk on defense.
Coach, I was trying to be politically correct.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got to be the difference. I mean, we got to put it together. 2 years ago, we were a top 10 defense in the country, and we didn't get it done on offense. I mean, we turned the ball over, a million times. We were just a wreck. And when it came to ball security in 23, we weren't explosive down the field, and defensively, we were right there. And then last year, offensively, we become what we need to be. We improved in every area: ball security, explosiveness, big plays. Quarterback took the next step, skill, all that stuff. And then defensively, we could not stop the big play. We would have moments, but we were a really poor big play defense, and we weren't very good in the red zone when it came to touchdowns. And so, what won the day for us last year was the turnover margin. That really paid off big for us. But we got to put it together. And so we need the offense to continue to where they are. And again, we did a lot. We had 1 million yards in 23. We weren't getting the points. We'd turn it over. I mean, we could. It was a crazy deal. They got on the right track last year. So we need that offense to continue to stay consistent, to take care of the football, to continue to have the explosiveness that we need, protect our quarterback. Cade's got to continue on the trend that he's on, from where he was last year. And then defensively, we just got to, get back on track. I mean, we've been a good defense around here for a long time, but last year was nowhere near what the standard is of Clemson football. And it is what it is. I'm not going to rehash last year, but if we can put those two together and play complementary football instead of compensating for one side or the other, which is what's happened the last couple of years, I think we got a chance to be a good football team. So, it starts with everybody doing their job. Like we got to stop the run. Yes. I mean, we have to play our gaps. We got to leverage the football from the outside in. We've got to win the point of attack. That's where it starts. And then we can't have busted assignments. Everybody's just got to, you guys will make plays. I mean, this is football, but we've got to, cut out the stuff that really, causes you to lose football games. And that is not being in the right place, poor tackling, et cetera. So I think we've taken a really good step forward on the practice field this spring and then fall camp, but we got to go do it on game day. And, but I love our personnel. I think Tom has been just, perfect. He's been exactly what we needed. I think he's just a good leader. He's been a great leader for a bunch of alpha dudes in the room from a staff standpoint, and he's been a great leader for the personnel over there. He's really done a nice job with that, and our staff has really bought into it. So it's been exciting, to see him buy in to what we've been asking them to do. And they're playing hard, they're practicing hard, and now we just got a tough schedule ahead, got to go do it week in and week out.
Yeah, you'll have opportunity. And, Coach, this will be the last one for me. I'll let KG close out with some big picture expectations here. But your front seven, I think, is the best in college football. I don't think you'll find a better one anywhere across the entire country. And the opportunity from a depth standpoint, guys that have come in and ready to make a difference, but also the veterans that it's time to really go. How have they gotten better? Because as you mentioned, stopping the run was a big issue at times last year with those guys being back, with them being hungry, with some younger guys stepping up now in a leadership role. How has that front seven gotten to maybe where I think of them right now?
Yeah, well, they've all bought into what they needed to do. They've all taken coaching. They all stayed. You know, these guys could have all run from the smoke, if you will, but they didn't. All these guys have stayed here. And I think they all were embarrassed by, you know, at times the way we performed defensively last year. And they've just really done what they need to do. There is good depth. We have a good combination of size and speed and athleticism, but a lot of experience to go along with that. There's a lot of competition. It's a close group. I think they've taken another big step forward as far as really being connected, holding each other accountable. And again, just taking ownership of what each one of them had to do to go get better, you know, individually. They've done that. But, you know, our tackling has been really good. They're getting their hands on a lot of balls. I think the effort has been demanded at a really high level. And, you know, again, I think Tom deserves a lot of credit for that, because I think because he's the only new guy, you know, it's the same staff. And so Tom's come in and really, you know, put things in play the way they need to be, you know, and the way I need them to be. So, you know, again, on paper, I agree with you. I think this is a really good front seven. It's a really good group. But they got to go do it. And if they're going to be considered, you know, one of the best front seven, well, then that's going to come through performance. And but as far as individually, I mean, like I said, a lot of them, I mean, K-Part was 306 pounds. He looks great. You know, Peter Woods, TJ, they've all done the work that's been asked of them. And they're a smarter group. And I think they're a group that really has, I mean, they got the eye of the tiger. That's what they got.
Coach, this is a group that maybe hasn't been a part of a Clemson program that's had this level of expectations. The expectations are always super high, but where some people are ranking you preseason number one in different things, whatever. How are you handling that? I've also heard I feel like you've been pretty confident outwardly. It feels like you have a lot of confidence in this group. How have you been managing that this offseason?
I'm always confident. I mean, because I believe in our team. I believe in our process and how we go about things. I mean, we're pretty much I think we've been at least a preseason top 15 team for a long time. I don't know when the last time we weren't preseason top 15. So we've always had high expectations all the way back to probably, I mean, I don't think we were ranked in 2011, but we won the league. I don't think we were ranked. Maybe, but I doubt it. And so, but from that point on, once we won the league in 11, I know we were ranked in 12, 13. I think we've been ranked everywhere from 1 to somewhere in the top 15, 16 or so. So there's always expectations, whether they're accurate or not, you know, whether they're talking good about you or talking bad about you, there's always high expectations here. And I don't pay attention to that. Because it don't matter. I mean, if you look at the preseason rankings last year, you know, where we are right now, if you look at the preseason rankings and then look at all the teams that finished unranked, it just, none of that stuff matters. You know, again, I've had teams that weren't picked. I don't think we were picked to win the league last year. I don't think, but we won it.
Probably, yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
Miami.
I think so.
But we won it. And, you know, so, I mean, that's just how I go. I just focus on what I control, and man, let's just do the work. I mean, we got a good football team. The ball bounces funny sometimes. You need a little favor along the way. I mean, you know, we've had the best teams we've had. You have a little bit of favor along the way. I mean, that ball at Texas A&M that Kayvon Wallace punches out instead of going out there, and it's first to goal, it goes out there, and it's touchback for the Tigers. So, you know, you need a little of that along the way. But you got to have the tangibles, and we do. I think we've got the tangibles to compete for this league, and that's where it starts. I mean, we can't ever lose sight of that. You know, you gotta 17 teams, man. and then it's the intangibles, right. The leadership, the chemistry, the togetherness, the habits on and off the field. You know, all of those things, you know, those intangibles, just the mental toughness, those are the things that I've seen present in this team. And so that excites me. So, again, I always tell them, man, let's don't try to worry about proving who we are. Let's just be who we are, and we'll be able to live with whatever results we get.
Coach, I'm not sure you've ever been asked this before, but very quickly, would you advise a fan who is 39 weeks pregnant to attend the Clemson LSU game?
Absolutely.
Okay, you would.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
I mean, my wife, she was pregnant with Clay. She had Clay 2.5 weeks after we spent the whole day at SeaWorld in Orlando with a double stroller. Like we had 2 young ones and Clay on the way, and yeah, come on, toughen up. Let's go.
Appreciate that, Coach.
We got what a great story that would be. We got
exactly.
We got all kind of doctors. Hey, there's plenty of people who can figure it all out and be a great story.
That's what I said, Coach. That's what I said. Anyway, great to see you. Excited to be with you in a couple weeks, and good luck the rest of the way, man. Can't wait.
All right, we'll see y'all soon. Appreciate you.